Airplay here on Peoria Life's Facebook page. We are live on Facebook Live right now, but we'll be airing later on YouTube, peorialife.com, Channel 17 on the i3 broadband system, and a host of other places. It is Airplay, where we go behind the scenes and talk to local radio and TV personalities about their life a little bit off the air. It's kind of like going behind the microphone. I'm Scott Wheeler from Super Hits 102.7 and 1290 AM WIRL. And today, my guest, one of the most recognizable and unique voices in Peoria radio, a hometown guy for sure, Mike Stechman from 93.3 The Drive and 104.9 The Wolf. Mike, welcome.
Good to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So, unlike so many of us who were transplanted to Peoria and to do radio, you born and raised here, right?
Yeah, small town, Deer Creek, Illinois.
Yes, salute.
Alumni of the DMAC High School, Chiefs, and then went from there. So here in Peoria.
So I heard that your first DJ gig was in the cafeteria at DMAC High School.
Where'd you hear that from?
I heard that from one of your Facebook friends.
Yes.
So tell me how that all went down.
Well, I've always been fascinated with radio. I always wanted to be an entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up at the time, you had your variety shows like Sonny and Cher,
Yeah.
or Donnie and Marie. I remember Mom and Dad getting me a Donnie and Marie guitar set with matching microphones.
Yes.
Later down the road, Mr. Microphone came out, but it was still worked the same way. But was always fascinated. I wanted to be an entertainer, so as I got into high school, went through student council, wanted to do the dances, collected all the 45 records and the cassette tapes, and I said, I want to start a radio station at the high school.
Cool.
So it was just local. I brought my own speakers in. I ran my own wires and dedicated my lunch hour, which was about a half hour at that time, just playing music and doing announcements.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that was that.
So from there began a radio career. Where did you start?
I started at the station I work at now, WXCL, in 1990
Okay.
as a graduating high school kid. So I was planning to go to college. College never happened. I decided to learn on my own, and it must have worked out because here I am.
Okay, so from XCL, you spent some time in Bloomington,
I did.
right?
I was at XCL for a short time. Bloomington opened up B104, which is another big radio station for country music. I was there for 3 years. A man named Tom Holliday, may he rest in peace, but he was my program director. And he gave this kid a shot to do 7 to midnight for about 3 or 4 years. So
Now, when I first heard you, you were working for a radio station called The Party. Do you remember that?
yes,
Was it a party?
I tried to fit the lifestyle because it was a teeny bopper station, as you know, working
I had
at
the
KZ93.
teeny boppers in my house at the time, so that's why you were on the radio every morning in my
Well,
house.
yes, and I'm gonna make you feel old here. I'm gonna be 47 come this Friday, but I'm a kid, one of these kids that grew up listening to KZ93.
Oh, I do
And your
feel
106s,
old.
your Scott Wheelers, and yeah, so it's kind of funny how it all comes around because now we all work together.
I know.
So it feels strange.
You will always be Stecklehead to me. So currently now you're working really for you're on two different radio stations.
Yes.
You do the night show on 93.3 The Drive,
Yeah.
and then you do middays on 104.9 The Wolf.
Yes.
One's classic hits, classic rock, and the other's country.
Yes.
What is that like doing? Do you ever forget which station you're on?
Well, no. To begin, yes. I made cue cards to make sure I read the
Hey,
right-
dummy, you're on The Wolf.
I started out in country, so I love country music, but I've always been a fan of classic rock and roll. And so I had the opportunity to work for The Drive. It's like, yes, I got there. And then I was approached, hey, you want to do country again? We have a spot open. It's like, okay, I don't know the music now. I got away from it. I mean, when I started out in country, it was the brand new 90s country,
Yeah,
Brooks and
so
Dunn's,
Alan
Garth
Jackson
Brooks.
and,
So I didn't know who Luke Bryan was or those guys. So yeah, it's fun. It's a different audience, but they're all family.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Do you have a favorite of the two styles of music if you had to choose?
I've always been a fan of classic rock and roll. I've always, when I was growing up, I was just mentioning this the other day. I was the kid that hung around the older kids. So at that time, they were listening to Leonard Skinner or your AC/DCs or whatever it may be. And I fell in love with that format. But then country music was fun too.
Yeah.
And listening to grandma's radio in the kitchen, playing old country music. So that brings back good memories and vibes. So
now, you're a musician too. You've been in some bands along the way. This Comatose Catfish or whatever it was.
My brother's from Comatose Catfish. We kind of do our own thing now, but we had a good 5-year run, and I could sing a little bit, but I couldn't play anything. And one of the guys said, "Why don't you play the washboard?" It's like, I don't know how to play a washboard. So we'll teach you. And so I did your YouTubing and things like that. Took pointers from, everybody's got their own opinion, but I you just keep rhythm. That's basically what you got to do.
It's like the tambourine.
And make something cool out of it. So I was a washboard player.
Keep the beat. That's what I would do. Well, that just points to the fact that you are so involved in the community. I mean, every time I look at your Facebook page, you are somewhere doing something. So let's start with this thing you do just about every weekend, the Holler and Swaller Tour.
Yes.
What in the world is that?
That is karaoke. It's
Okay.
a karaoke show. I like to say show because everybody has their own karaoke versions out there, but I like to bring entertainment to whoever I'm playing and let them. I'm the guy behind the scenes running the board for them. I'll kick it off, but I want them to be the star.
Okay.
So I try to set it up like they're playing in a band. I mean, I'll bring the props, guitars,
Oh, really?
hats, whatever it may be to fit the songs, and let them be the star, and I just run the show.
All right, welcome back. We had a little technical glitch there. Mike Stechman has the distinction of being my first airplay guest to
I stepped on this wire.
crash the system and knock us off the air. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You'll go down in history. Well, when we last talked to Mike Stechman, we were talking about how the fact that you are out in the community and doing a bunch of stuff, and probably at the top of the list is the Holler and Swaller Tour.
Yeah.
What in the world is that?
It's a karaoke show.
Okay.
And I say show because I bring a show to, and I play a lot of bars. So I'm down to about once a month at every location that I play at. So there's about 10 bars I play at. But it's a 4-hour show, and I say show because I have the lights, I have the guitars, I have the hats.
Oh, for the people to use.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I make them the star. I'm just the guy running the board for them, and I'll kick it off, usually with an Elvis song or something like that. But and it's up to them, and I'll get a list rotating. But I say show because it's fun. We interact with the crowd out there. And the holler and a swaller part comes in, and that's a toast to the weekend. So
nice.
basically, whatever your beverage you're drinking, you give a toast to the weekend, and everybody yells and takes a swaller. So
Excellent.
yeah, that
sounds fun.
It's fun.
So besides that, I know you do a lot of work in the community with charitable organizations. Last winter, you were doing the Gimme Shelter event.
Yes.
Tell me how that worked.
Quite the experience, and that's for the homeless. And believe it or not, there's a lot of homeless people here in Central Illinois. You may not see them all the time, but they're out and about, especially trying to hunker down for the winter, trying to find somewhere warm and safe. But I got the experience to live in a cardboard box for a night.
Yikes.
And in the dead of winter, which was pretty cold that night. And I basically had maybe a sleeping bag, a blanket, and a tarp to cover my cardboard box to try to stay warm that night. And it was helped to raise awareness and raise some money to help give a home to our shelter or for our homeless out there. So
Cool.
yeah, it's a humbling experience, sad too. We even had a guy that was homeless and stayed with us that night.
Oh, really?
Man, you don't have to stay out here, but he goes, I'm used to it,
Wow. Let me show you how it's done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it gave me a whole new outlook on what that life is like, and it's not fun.
Now, when I first met you at the radio station, you had this really long beard. And then I remember one day for charity, you shaved her off.
Yeah,
I mean, this just wasn't a little bit of beard. This took This took like a chainsaw to get it off you. What was that about?
I had a tear from that, but it was going to a good cause too. I grew this beard out for when I was with Comatose Catfish, which is a bluegrass hillbilly band. So I wanted the look. I wanted to grow the look, wear the old fedora and bib overalls. So I kept the beard, and man, I cleaned that beard pretty good. I took care of it like your hair, you know. And somebody came to me, and since I work for the Drive, the Children's Hospital, they go, "Why don't you cut your beard and donate it for charity?"
What are you asking?
And at that time, it's like, I was ready to get rid of it. I just didn't know when I was going to do it, and that was the perfect time. And I think I raised like over $1,200 just to shave my beard.
And I was there for the moment.
The kids.
It was awesome.
It was cool.
It was
and then when I had this baby face, and I looked like John Goodman after that.
The thing that I think when I meet people and talk about you, Steck, the thing that they always say is, he's just one of us. He's, he was born here. He's just a Central Illinois guy. And you've got this voice that just, it's so unique. I mean, the minute you hear it, it's like, that's Steck. And it's so, I don't know, it just says Central Illinois. I'm part of that club. Come on in and enjoy. Do you have any reflection on that? I mean, is that something you consciously try to do, or that's just you?
No. Thanks to a great Christian family, I was raised in church and believing in God, and still do to this day, and keeps me on track. And the bullying thing nowadays, I think we were all bullied growing up in life, but it's gone to another level. And a more serious level, and we try to raise awareness for that. But I like to be humble. I mean, I grew up with some good parents, and they kept me humble, kept me straight, kept me a good kid. Don't get me wrong, I've been wild here and there, but that's just things in life you learn, and go from there. But if I've always been this clown kind of kid in school. If I can make you smile or laugh, I think I'm doing a job, and I think that's what God gave me to do, to bring to somebody that I meet in life. So,
and we need it these days for sure.
That's what I look at. There's days, everybody has their ups and downs. I don't want to do this or that, but I look ahead. So, I've been blessed. I've been very blessed, because I've learned from people like you. I mean, everybody has their own opinion of the job that I do, but you take it all in, and you got this book. Well, I was told to do this. I can't do this now, That's something else I store back there. So it's just learning as you go in life. And I picked a career where it's fun. I love my job. I love going to work. I mean, there's times I told Holly, which she's my fiance, we were on vacation, so I'm ready to go back to work, And that was just a week we were off.
Yeah.
So it's fun. And I've always been told, find something you love to do and take it.
Never work a day in your life.
Yeah. Right. And I do. And Pops, my dad, said the other day, he goes, "You're living the dream, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, I am. Thank you." So it feels good.
Well, and it shows, and you can hear it when you listen to it. So that's excellent.
Been blessed.
Okay. I ask everyone who's on Airplay this question. Most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you on the radio.
On the radio.
That we can share here to our PG-13 audience.
Wow. And how long have you been in radio?
40 years.
Okay, I just told Holly I'll be going on 30 years here in 2 years. So I started right out of high school. There's nothing really that stands out that I might have fell asleep on the board. When we say board, it's your music board.
Took a little
that's when
nappy.
you actually had to be there until midnight or midnight to 6 in the morning. And the song ends, and I'm the guy that pushes the next button. I do remember falling asleep on the board. Maybe swearing at one time. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Nothing really stands out.
Yeah. How about the most memorable thing? Maybe it was the Gimme Shelter event or something along the way that just, gosh, what an opportunity to be a part of something that's bigger than me, that's bigger than radio, bigger than my job.
Well, I've had the privilege to see a lot of things and do a lot of things, whether it's concerts or this. Or,
How about this? Who's the coolest person you ever met? Because as in the job you have, you get to meet people, maybe at artists or community folks or whatever. Who's someone who stands out?
David Allen Coe.
Really? Okay. Why?
Got to meet him, hooked up with some friends, and I guess either they're relatives of him or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of I was the guy in the shadows,
Mm-hmm.
kind of following these guys around.
Mm-hmm.
I used to ride motorcycles a lot, and he played down in Daytona. He's got a bar down there,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd do like two shows a day, one in the day, one at night, and just kind of got to learn what an outlaw legend in country music, how he lived, and I still keep in touch. I wish him happy birthday every year.
Excellent.
Man, he's like 83, 4 years old now, so.
Classic artist, though.
Meeting different artists in concerts. I'm sure you have too as well, but basically nobody really stands out. Just new people I meet, you know. That's probably the coolest thing is meeting somebody new.
Mm-hmm.
You can never have too many friends.
Right.
I agree with that. So
I'm not surprised to hear you say that.
yeah, it's always, and I don't like to. I get kind of bashful when people, hey, you're the guy on the radio. I don't like to. I get embarrassed by that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool, but then I get the red face.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. Yeah.
I'm kind of like that too. Just want to be you.
But I love doing that though.
Yeah.
I like standing out to do something like that. But then taking the percussion, I'm still not used to that.
I contend that most really good entertainers on the radio or other places really do have kind of a shy, introverted personality in real life. And that's what makes them so good when the light switch gets flipped on and they do their thing.
I don't know about you, but I still get nervous.
Oh, me too.
Standing up in a big crowd,
Oh, absolutely.
until I get that comfort zone, and then I'll settle in. But I say nerd. I was a nerd kid growing up, wanting to be in radio. My mom goes, "You gonna talk about the time you had your little radio studio in your bedroom?" It's like, I will now. Oh yeah, I used to practice, grab the paper and practice, make tapes in my room, my basement. So, yeah, man, I guess that led me to where I'm at now.
Well, it's a wonderful club to be in.
It is. It is. Thank you, my friend.
Mike Stechman from 93.3 The Drive and 104.9 The Wolf, our guest today on Scott Wheeler's Airplay. Remember, you can see this again, both portions, on PeoriaLife.com, Facebook and YouTube, and also Channel 17 on the i3 broadband system. Until next week, thanks for watching Scott Wheeler's Airplay.
PeoriaLife.com